I'm Mr. G, and I am a poet or a spoken word artist. I first heard about Prem Rawat when, believe it or not, I didn't know much about him even up until meeting him. So I like the fact that here is a man who's been so focused on pushing forward his idea of peace. So then when I was had the honor to interview him, I wanted to be able to ask him questions which would then open up different chapters of his life or chapters of his opinion. I mean, I myself, right, I was part of I work a lot in prisons. I do creative writing courses, and I was part of a BBC Radio 4 show where we went into correctional institutions up and down England, and we spoke to prisoners. One of the first workshops I ever did in prison, I found myself holding a class, and one of the inmates within the class, I recognized him from a newspaper of the crime that he'd committed maybe a year or two ago, and he had shot my friend's cousin. Right? And I remember sitting down, this is another one of those wrangling questions, right? I remember sitting down, looking him in his eyes, and just thinking to myself, wow, man, you're that dude. You're that guy that did all these things. You're that guy that, oh my God, and I don't know the cousin, but I mean, I know my friend and the pain that you caused him, right? And I had to really, I had nightmares when I went home. And that nightmares, I had to really think about, okay, if I really believe in rehabilitation and that everybody's got the right to have a chance to be rehabilitated, I've got to put aside my moral judgments and become a poet. I've actually got to almost stop being, stop the as you said, the questions, and just focus on this is someone that deserves rehabilitation the same way this person deserves rehabilitation, the same way everybody deserves a form of rehabilitation. Do you ever find yourself in that situation where you're looking at someone and the crime they might have committed, it's so repugnant and so abhorrent that you feel that little, because you sit around with someone that's murdered a few people, you can't say you don't feel that sense of danger. Do you know what I mean? That's coming
Absolutely.
from them, right? How do you cope with that, where you're offering an idea of peace, but if you find out a particular individual has done something which might have a resonance with something that you've seen or experienced in your past, that you just, you've got to almost correct yourself?
Well, look, first of all, that person committed that heinous act because he didn't think he had the power to write his own story. He thought that he has to this is how it is, this is how it happens, oh yeah, the world is against me. And this is what, I know, I go to prisons. I work, and people go, what I know now, if I only knew before, I would not be here. There are millions and millions and millions and millions of people incarcerated and will be incarcerated. What are we doing to educate them? A lot of judges think, let's scare them.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Because what they have already seen is much scarier than the judge could ever imagine. So, this is all coming back to the same thing. Because we do not know who we are wrangling, and we are the rope in the tug of war. Sometimes it's being pulled this way, sometimes it's being pulled that way, and either way it's being pulled, on the good side or the bad side, it is getting stretched thin.
Yeah.
But to come back to your particular question, so I know there is a guy. He's sitting there. Maybe he killed my dearest friend. He murdered him cold for money. In fact, I went to this one country, and I won't mention the name. I went to this one country, and I had my first daughter. She was only a few months old. And we just went, and we were tourists, and we wanted to go see a place. And so we ended up there. Not a good idea. The next thing you know, a guy comes and he holds a gun up and he says, okay, take off all the jewelry you have. He collected all the cameras we had. He had us face against a wall. And I know that at that moment it wasn't easy because of my baby, my wife, my friends that were with me. Finally, he said, okay, go. So we got out of there. I see this guy's face. He had it half covered. All you could see is his eyes. So I see this guy's face. And I have to tell you one thing, that we left and we came back to our hotel and we got into the living room, sat down. And the first thing was how thankful we were that we were still alive.
Yeah.
And then there was like, over the period of years, will I go and say to him, oh, you needed all that more than we did, so that's why it's fine? No, it's not fine. It's not fine. It's wrong. It's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. But should I be in a position to tell this guy he's wrong? Because he knows he's wrong. He knows he's wrong.
Yeah.
Or should I tell him, listen, you really need to get your act together in life. This is not who you want to be. This is not right. We have no respect for human beings. This is a society that we have created. What does a human being mean? Nothing. Nothing. Hey, you don't think the way I do, I'll kill you. You don't think the way I do, I'll kill you. You don't believe in my God, I will kill you. You don't look like me, I'll kill you. It's like, whoa.
It's amazing.
Wow.
The world we live in.
Wow, this is wrong. What is right? To feel the peace, to understand your dignity, to understand that you have the power to write your own story. And that the power to write your own story didn't come from me. It came from what an inmate said.
Because that's another thing that I find rare, like the way in which we devalue ourselves, and we place value in things that are meant to be reflections of nature. Like I had a program about it was the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. And so they had a program where they brought out all these diamonds, you know what I mean? And they spoke about how this diamond is absolutely rare and this diamond is perfect, and what do they call it, flawless diamond. And then they started to explain how a diamond is it's carbon condensed over hundreds and thousands and millions and billions of years, right? You know what I mean? And I was just thinking to myself, wow, man, like maybe in a billion years time, we'll all be a diamond, all of us, like inside a little diamond, be like black, white, Muslim, Jew, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, everything condensed. And that's the only time people see us as having any form of value. It's very, very easy to be distracted by the trivial. But the trivial then becomes more and more and more real and more and more and more important, to the extent whereby someone will rob you or kill you for things that they think that you have, as if having those things is then going to make them happy or then going to give them a sense of fulfillment. They were unfulfilled before they robbed you, and they probably ain't going to be too fulfilled after they've robbed you, because then they'll be worried about somebody else robbing them for the things they've robbed you for.
Our very fabric of our society is falling apart because we don't understand the components of this fabric. That to be in harmony with your neighbor, peace is important, part of it. That's the glue. That's the only thing that's going to make it work. Understanding is a part of it. that if those things are not emphasized in our society, then that fabric is going to fall apart. I'm not a big believer of world peace, but I am a very big believer of personal peace. To me, peace has to begin with every individual. A human being is not the sum of what you see just with your eyes, but a human being is much more than that.
But you do realize that that's another inherent flaw within man, is that we aspire towards a degree of prestige. Just the idea that someone can say, I'm better than this person.
The main thing is that everybody wants to be a VIP. Everybody wants to be important. But you are important. See, that's the thing. You are a VIP. There's nobody like you on the face of this earth. And there'll nobody be ever like you on the face of this earth. You are absolutely unique. You are more precious and more unique than anything that they think is unique.
Oh, thank you so much.
But that's everyone. And you don't know it. Then that's a shame. That's a shame. You should know it. That you are unique. There has never been, since Homo erectus, there has never been anybody like you. And in a few billion years that the earth is going to disappear, there'll never be again anybody like you. You're on a unique planet, a unique being, a unique person, a unique opportunity to know yourself, to be fulfilled. You're uniquely in that place.
Good stuff. How do you relax? These are huge concepts that are just swirling around your mind, and these are huge ideas that are being put forward and emanated from, the use of your wonderful language. But in terms of just downtime, turn on the TV, maybe just, I don't know, watch a couple of cartoons, watch something, how do you chill out?
Just like anyone else. I like restoring cars.
Right.
I like making videos. I like making music. I like writing poetry. It's nothing that is it's not something that's going to make me relax. I just have to be in a place where I can be, and then I can relax. But if you're not basically relaxed inside, from the inside. Look, there is the screen and there is the movie playing on the screen. And if you really think that there is a real train on that screen, you're wrong. It's really coming from somewhere else. And there is a projector. And in the old days, there used to be the lamp, and then there was the film. And that was and piano player. But what you are seeing on the screen is not on the screen. It's coming from somewhere else. We too are just a screen on the outside. What we are seeing played out on the screen is really coming from somewhere else, and it's coming from inside of us. And when you're not happy inside, it doesn't matter. People go, oh, it's so peaceful. It's so peaceful. And so what is peaceful? They'll be looking at a sunset. And they'll go, oh, this is so peaceful. So why don't they just make a big banner of a setting sun and surround the violent crowd with it and see if they think it's peaceful? It won't be.
No.
It won't be. Because it has nothing to... all that stuff looks good because...
You're at peace.
You are at peace. But if you're not at peace, what difference does it make?
That's the one thing I remember when I first went to LA, right? And I'm, coming from where I'm at in London and going to LA was like, wow, this place is so beautiful, so amazing, whatever. And then you meeting the Hollywood stars, and you go to these amazing parties. And I meet people that are like millionaires, right? Like crying, like proper, drenching in tears, you know what I mean? Searching for the next line of Coke, searching for the next vodka, whatever it is that they can do to dull some pain. And they're living a lifestyle which on paper is amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like if I go and tell my friends, oh my God, I met this person, and they know that they've been in this film and that film and whatever, or they've done this, that and everything. And then you meet the actual person themselves, And it's literally almost as if they're as you said, I've seen a kid knocking around a football, with more joy than this person. And I couldn't equate it. I just could not equate, like, how can this person be unhappy, surrounded by so much opulence, surrounded by people waiting on their beck and call and stuff like that. And yet, what's the point? You know what I mean? You may as well just be, you may as well be in a slum somewhere. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? At least you got an excuse. Yeah. That was when I started to realize, I suppose, that I think man is part spiritual, part material. And we've got material needs. So obviously, we need shelter, we need, warmth, we need food, air, and all those type of things. And then we have a spiritual need, which is beyond the material need. And you feed the material all the time, but you don't very rarely feed the spiritual.
Yeah, but spiritual can be vague at sometimes. And the need that I talk about, the peace and the fulfillment and knowledge and understanding, they're as practical as having water. Yes, it would be wonderful to have peace. I mean, you wouldn't go, I would be wonderful for all of us hungry people in the world to have some food. No, we need food. And as real as eating that food needs to be, so does peace need to be in our lives. As real as water, the quenching of the thirst needs to be, same thing needs to happen in our lives with quenching the thirst for knowledge, for quenching the thirst for understanding, for quenching the thirst of knowing who we are. We need to absolutely understand the power that we have to write our own story.
I saw some pictures of you, because you've been speaking since the age of 4.
Yeah.
You were the boy genius, as it were, right? How can this young boy be espousing such wisdom? And I wonder, when you look at that young boy, or if you ever do, but I was just wondering to myself, when you look at, would there be any words of wisdom or comfort or advice that you would offer, if you could offer that young boy? Because I just think to myself, do you feel you've missed out on a childhood?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a very unique life. Very, very, very different. Because even as soon as the holiday would start, summer vacation or winter vacation would start, I'd be out doing tours.
Yeah.
And then day before the school started, would come back, just enough time to get the new books and get new shoes, a new school bag perhaps, if you were lucky. And out next day in school, and not a word of what happened. Because there I was just like any other kid, and that was it. And, we would have friends, and you have this, you have that. So, to me, and that's just every year. And
that's that was the norm for you.
That was the norm. In a way, it was such a beautiful privilege that I could go and talk to people about that peace is inside of them, and that peace is important. And without it, that we are incomplete. And whoever we are. And then when I came to the West, there was a lot of how could this kid be talking? Even in India, 4, 5, 6, 7, people would go, he's not talking. He's not talking. He's just lip syncing. They didn't know how difficult it is to lip sync. But he was like, he's just lip syncing. And I wasn't lip syncing. And people, adults, would say, oh yeah, he's a fake. He is this. He's not going to last very long. And here I've been doing it for 52 years. I'm 56 years old. I've been doing it for 52 years. I'm still here. That little 4-year-old boy still talks. And maybe talks from a body that's a little older, but the heart hasn't changed. And the heart should stay the same.
But if there was any advice or words of comfort you could offer to a little boy, because I'm looking at you and you're surrounded by thousands of people, right? And I'm just going, whoa, right? I was playing with, Star Wars figures when, when I was that age, right? You know what I mean? If there was just any words of, comfort you could offer that little boy, what would you say?
There'll be good times. There'll be bad times. Hang on to your hat. because ultimately the happiness that you want, you will find it within you. Right now, I see that 4-year-old and I'm like, you know what? You're going to have a different life, but it'll be okay. There'll be a lot of things you won't have, but it'll be okay. It'll be okay because so far you keep believing in what you do and you understand what you're doing. You'll be okay. So, good times, bad times, but good times, and more of the good times.
Oh, well, Prem, thank you very, very much for
Thank you.
allowing me, I guess, into the mind, you know what I mean, of the great Prem Rawat. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a very, very interesting connective minds. At the end of the day, we both are advocates of peace, and we both are advocates in terms of like empowering people to change the human conditions and to look beyond the world around them. So we both have the same understanding, and the ideas of peace, even though we have got, I suppose, we view peace in different ways, but the idea that peace is within us and the idea that we're all human beings resonates very much with me. I think the affinity that we had was a mutual respect for the exploration of ideas with regards to peace. We both saw within each other that there was a desire to do what we do in order to inspire people to think about peace or think about the lessening of the conflict within their lives. So be it from a domestic level or be it on a world level. There was a line that he said that really is like, it resonated with me so much, where he said, it goes, I'm more a believer of personal peace than world peace, because personal peace then leads on to world peace. Because I love that type of thinking. I like the type of thinking that breaks through all the noise and the mesh of modern living and just breaks it down to the idea that once you're alive, that's the best gift that you can have. And the best gift that you can give is to help anybody else enjoy that moment of just being alive. That was the thing that I found very inspirational.